So glad to have you here on episode 62 of Underage Packers. Grab a Dr. Pepper, grab a beer that we're not allowed to have. We're so excited to have you on this Saturday or whatever your day you're listening to this. I'm Joey, one of your co-hosts. We're going to be talking about all of the moves the Packers have made in the past 2 weeks. Joining me, as always, is my great co-host, Big B. How are you today?
What's going on?
Yeah, that's like a Japanese kawaii pose right there.
I know it's probably something I'm not allowed to do, but I did it anyway. So
Not allowed to do. I love it. So we'll be talking, like I mentioned, all the cap saving moves, the moves the Packers haven't made, all of that good stuff in this lovely offseason. March 13th. It seems like we've been in the offseason for a while now, but we're really only 5 weeks. But you know what else is 5 weeks away is the NFL draft. And the Packers, we got some draft news this week. The Packers received 3 compensatory picks in this year's draft: a 4th rounder for Blake Martinez, a 5th rounder for Brian Bulaga, and a 6th rounder for Kyler Fackrell. Is it Kyle? It's Kyler, right?
Kyler, yeah, Kyler.
I was trying to think if it was just Kyle or Kyler. That's
Kyler. Yeah, it's Kyler.
It's kind of a weird name, but it kind of sounds like email. So maybe Kyler was born to have an emo face. But besides the point, Kyler and Blake both signed with the Giants, obviously, and that's just how it shakes up. I'm not the compensatory picks. There's a lot of gears behind the scenes that go and work with it, so I'm not going to try to act like I know what I'm talking about. But it depends on the contract. I don't know if it has too much to do on playing time. I do think Pro Bowls might be factored into it, but I'm not sure. Like I said, look it up for yourself.
Yep.
Either way. What was that?
You guys got time. You're listening to us, so you got to have a lot of time on your hands.
Exactly. If you're using your time on this, you have plenty of time to use on other stuff. So, another thing that factors into that is how much money you spend in last year's free agency. And that's why in 2019, last year's draft, they didn't have any compensatory picks because it depends on the players that left you last year. And then if you sign players, it will balance it out. So we signed Za'Darius Smith, Preston Smith, Adrian Amos, Billy Turner. Their contracts totaled up to be $100 million, and their average per year was each somewhere above $15 million. So, we didn't get any compensatory picks last year.
Good.
All right. That's the compensatory picks. Any thoughts on that, Big B?
Don't be shocked if Brian Gutekunst trades up in the draft with that extra free 4th round pick he's got, because he likes using them 4th round picks to move up in the draft, as we can tell.
Yeah. I want to say this is going to be year where they trade down, but I have said that every single year with Brian Gutekunst, and he does the opposite. Except, 2018 he kind of traded up, kind of traded down, but trades Jordan Love. That's an odd one. Well, it's unexpected and random. And then Darnell Savage, I did not expect that move to come. Like, when you have 2 first-round picks and you trade up, that is quite the move right there. And Darnell Savage is quite the heck of a player. So good move right there. All right, another move Packers made, or did not make rather, is not franchise tagging Aaron Jones. We didn't even get the news from Rappaport that the team informed Jones that they aren't using him. Didn't happen. So I'm kind of like this whenever there's a deadline, like trade deadline, franchise tag deadline, before I'm like, nah, it's too much money. Let's play it safe. But then, like, when we're an hour and a half away from the deadline, like, okay, this needs to happen. Like, and now I'm doing the same with like the deadline to sign players before the new league year starts. I'm like, oh my God.
When is that, by the way?
I believe March 17th is when 15th is maybe when the new tampering period starts. Okay. So really these next 2 days.
Ooh, oh boy.
And then you got the restricted free agents, which is a little different. But yeah, the time is definitely ticking. Not franchising tagging Aaron Jones, which is, the Packers are not a team that uses a franchise tag. We talked about this last episode, I believe. Even at $8 million with a running back. And speaking of compensatory picks, when you franchise tag a running back or any player, when you franchise tag a player, if they leave that following year, you don't get a compensatory pick for them. So that's like Aaron Jones is going to get paid. That's a third rounder right there. I would have loved Aaron Jones at that price, but it's also like you had a second round pick at on a running back, and it's not that that's all like, oh, he's a second rounder, he must be good. And that's almost like a Jimmy Graham situation. Like, oh my, well, we're paying him $10 million. He needs to be out there. But AJ Dillon, we'll give him a chance, obviously. What did you think? Do you think it's overall a good move for the Packers not franchise tagging AJ?
I think so. We've seen this coming. I think because since we lost, we've been all saying, no, we're not re-signing Aaron Jones. It's going to cost too much money.
Yep.
Then when the reports came out about the franchise tag, everybody was like, oh my God, we're going to franchise tag him. Yeah. And I'm still like, but we're not though. So don't get too excited. So I think it's a pretty good move.
Unfortunately, not franchise tagging Jamal Williams either. Quite a shocker. Really disappointing to the whole fan base. Yeah. Oh God, like Jamal Williams is an interesting one. I'm not looking forward to that day that I have to record the episode with you because
I'm not either.
The first time we lost to Tampa Bay. Oh God, I don't like. Not the second time, not the second meltdown, but the first meltdown against Tampa Bay. That was an awful episode. There was just a lot of drama involved in that one right there. Oh boy. So Jamal Williams is going to be even more. All right, let's get to some actual moves the Packers did make. First off, Devin Funchess taking a pay cut, freeing up $750,000 in cap space. Devin Funchess obviously was one of the free agent signings for the Packers last year. He opted out in 2020. And then, he's looking to get back on the team. And you look at how much MVS, how much Allen Lazard was used this year. I really don't think, Devin Funchess, he does have something to prove this training camp. Even though he's still on the roster right now, takes a pay cut, which is really just to get under before the March 17th. So give some flexibility in signing free agents. We'll see how he does in camp. And then obviously he has that cheaper contract. All right, another $750,000 pop. Adrian Amos restructuring his contract. The details on this, I believe it's just that the classic base salary to signing bonus. Again, don't ask me how that works. Look up Ken Galls on Twitter and he'll explain it. Yep. Any thoughts on those two $750,000 frees?
Just another way to get under the cap. That's all that matters. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Just to get under the cap, good moves. That's pretty much it.
It's obviously, it pushes it forward to the next 2 years. Restructuring Preston Smith, $8 million plus free. I love this move right here. It's they saved more than they would have by cutting him. And then, he has that. And also, it wasn't exactly like, just slashing his contract away. He does have sack-based incentives. So if he gets to, I believe it was 12 sacks, he gets pretty much all of his contract back, which I'm fine with. But
I thought it was 15 sacks.
It might be.
It was like his highest anyway is 15 or 14.
Yeah. So, but they do stack on top of each other, as Ian Rappaport reported. So, once again, it's just like you get under that cap for what you need to for March 17th, and then to be able to field your draft picks, you are able to sign some free agents. Preston, if he gets closer to one of those incentives, are like, all right, come on, get Rashawn in there more, so glad we're able to keep Preston around. All right, Then another one of my favorite players, Billy Turner, restructuring his contract, freeing up $500,000 in cap space. And then also some more in unknown base salary transition to signing bonus, as Bill Huber reported. So that's great news. All the 2019 free agents stepping up. Zedarius we'll talk a little bit about later. But what do you think of those two moves with Preston Smith and Billy Turner?
First of all, I'm gonna give a massive shout out to my boy Russ Ball. Dude's a freaking genius. He's a wizard. He can have my entire house. I don't care. I love that man. And just an absolute genius move. Preston Smith is on the team, and we restructured it so it's pretty much like you said, like we just cut him, but he's on the team still.
Yeah.
And we're getting more money to spend. So it's just like, Russ Ball, I love you. Pretty much the sum of that mumble jumble that I just said there.
Exactly. It's cap space isn't real. But I mean, it's still going to be a problem just because we're over about by $1 million or under by about $1 million. We still have to do something like that. That won't be enough for draft picks. So we still got to free some more so we can sign Will Fuller, obviously. All right. Then you have John Lovett. I wouldn't really consider this as a cap saving move, as more of it was just getting him off the team. But it did free up $120,000. Ken Ingalls, cap genius, did report that if he does come back, there's something where he recovers from his injury, comes back with the team. The Packers will have to pay a fee of $600,000 or something like that. So right now it saves money. Right now he's off the team, but he could possibly be back with the Packers next year. I really like John Lovett. I know you had some criticism of his playing, and certainly those first few weeks when he was starting in for DeGuara were pretty rough and was sad. God, one of our Matt LaFleur spends invest so much. It's so important to have this weird position I've never heard of, and all of them get hurt. Jesus, I just want to see our third rounder play.
I know. It's like we finally get this new shiny new position we never heard of, and then it's taken away.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, wow, that wasn't too special. I do love Dominique Daphne though. So
my boy Dominic Daphne, the new GOAT, by the way. Next this year, new GOAT, Dominic Daphne. Heard it here first, folks.
All right, that's a pretty big announcement right there.
That is.
All right. Probably the saddest news we got to report today. The Packers will not be retaining the Tim Boyle laser show.
Damn.
I'm speechless on this one right here.
I know.
I mean, this is really ruining the legacy of the great quarterbacks in right now of the great quarterbacks the Packers have had. So unfortunately the end for Tim Boyle in a Green Bay Packers uniform. It would have been pretty cheap to keep him. And I was honestly, I was excited. I was like, man, we got Nagler, we got all these other writers telling us he had some absolutely dots at training camp, and now we don't even get to see him. So it's going to be the starter.
That time I was there at training camp, I got kicked out. I couldn't even see him throw. That 4 minutes I was there, and I'm like, no.
Wow. I hope he signs with. I'm sure he will. You got Tom Silverstein reported that Mike McCarthy loved Tim Boyle. So, Tim Boyle's going to go to Dallas. He's going to beat out Dak in a quarterback battle. And then, boom, Tim Boyle's starting quarterback for the Cowboys. Actually, I don't like the sound of that. But, we don't want the Cowboys to go 13-3 every year. That's what will happen if they put Tim Boyle at QB. Another Christian Kirksey, former Packer, was released earlier on in the offseason with Rick Wagner that saved $10 million. He signed with the Houston Texans. Thoughts and prayers to Christian. I don't know how he's going to survive there. Hopefully Randall Cobb can give him some tips on how to survive, but man, better be ready for 4-12.
Yeah, and congrats, by the way, Christian Kirksey.
Oh yeah,
very proud of him.
Yeah, I was very excited to see that news. He gets too much flack. I thought he played really well near the end of the year, especially in that Rams game.
I thought he did great when he didn't have to be the Mike on defense. I thought he was flying around, making plays, doing all this spectacular stuff, and then he gets cut. I'm like, well, what am I gonna do now?
Yeah, and that probably doesn't happen in a normal year. And
Yeah.
I guess although 8 million, what was it, 2 years, 16 million for Kirksey, that's quite the contract for his play. All right. Now we talk about all the moves the Packers have made, didn't make. Let's talk about some possible moves they could make. And I see them, I guess I'll start off with one I see most likely, and that is extending Davante Adams, who's coming up on a contract year in 2021. A lot of people getting confused. Well, aren't you paying him more money? But no, it's pretty much like almost a void year where you're able to push that money onto his contract this year onto a contract extension for the next few years. And I just want to get Davante retained. Obviously, I don't want to have to worry about this season
because everybody knows we have nobody behind Davante. There's nobody back there. Just a couple of garbage bags. We all know this. So we got to get them.
Of course.
Get them locked up.
Yeah. And then another one of that is quite the traction on Twitter right now is restructuring Aaron Rodgers. Now people get this confused. No, it's not like adding more years to Aaron Rodgers' contract. It's adding more guarantees to these next 2 years. And it's like, well, I love Aaron Rodgers, but it's like they have plans for the future. It's going to happen. So, if Rodgers ends up getting traded next offseason, I know that seems like such an obtuse idea to some people, but if Rodgers does get traded next season, then without restructuring him, you save a lot of money. We'll see, what that leads to with his relations in the front office or whatever. But I really don't know what to exactly say on that without making at least 80% of people mad.
Yeah. I mean, and they're at a point right now where they really don't have to restructure Rodgers' contract if they want to. Mm-hmm. So they won't have to piss off Aaron Rodgers even more,
Yeah. It's like, I don't people want Aaron Rodgers, like, oh my God. Of course they're ignoring Aaron Rodgers. They're not giving him all the money in the world. Well, it makes it pretty hard for your plan for them to go all in. My favorite thing is like when people on Facebook or like it's really popular on Facebook, but like they have their whole offseason plan. Like they pull out their little paper, their little note list. Like, all right, we need to cut Lowry, cut MBS, give Rodgers all salary cap, sign Will Fuller, sign Ndamukong Suh, sign Don Hudson. And they just have their lists. They copy and paste it to every Facebook post they can find. Not sure how that's working for them as of now. Another possible contract talk would be extending Zadarius Smith, who would be coming up on a contract year in 2 years. He has 2 years remaining. But like I mentioned with Davante, you move some money over. You obviously lock him up for another year. And then hopefully, his contract expires after the 2022 season. Hopefully the 2023 cap space, as expected for right now, explodes. And then you have all the money in the world to pay Zadarius, no matter what age he ends up being at, what his play looked like at that age. Any other thoughts, Big B, on any of these three possible moves?
Not really. Pretty much hit it.
Yeah. We, like I mentioned earlier, still room to move. Still some possible moves. I'm sure as soon as we put this out, extension or restructure for Rodgers will break. But that's pretty much all the news to report on Impact Land today. I don't know. Heat of the Beat. We should have another episode of that coming out soon. We just got to figure out, who we're able to get that isn't going to get fired from the job. All of that good stuff. Draft content, we'll be pumping that out here soon, I guess. Make sure you follow us on all socials, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, even Facebook, people. Any final thoughts, Big B?
Jamal Williams is going to sign his contract extension here in a couple days.
Of course.
So be on the lookout for an absolute celebration from me on that episode.
Yeah, we will. We will record an emergency episode when
Yes.
I was going to say if, but when Jamal
When.
Williams signs his contract extension with the Green Bay Packers. Thanks, everybody, for watching. As always, go Pack, go.